Hey guys.
Hi guys.
Hi Modii.
I'm telling you right now, we've done like what is episode like 40.
40. Yeah.
It's still weird to me that we don't do an intro.
I don't mind.
I'm still really weirded out by it. Oh, this thing is almost ready.
Yeah, I decided to give it a direct hookup from HV wise. So.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay,
yeah,
cool.
It is. Was
going
chugging along.
Quicker. All right, and then once yeah. Oh, we're not making steam because it's nighttime.
Nighttime, correct.
Duh. Keep forgetting about that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is just sitting here with distilled water waiting. Okay. Now, there is a machine we can make that will do it automatically, but I think we need, like, lubricant or something for it, so.
Makes sense.
We
do have lubricant.
So, yeah, well.
So.
Yeah, but I think you have to keep supplying it with it, and then all of a sudden that becomes a whole headache, too, so. I mean, we could just sleep, and we're good. Nothing should turn back on here.
Yeah. There we go. Now it's going.
Yeah, yep, there we go. And once this guy's full, it's really probably not going to matter. We haven't had any.
And look at that thing go.
Full enough to, anyway, so yeah. So what's on the hit parade today, there, my fine feathered friend?
Okay, so what is the dumbest way you've been injured?
Okay, so do you want to take this one first, or should I?
Sure, I'll take it first.
Go ahead.
All right, so I was once in the Boy Scouts. And
okay.
It's a long time ago, back in high school era. We had taken a trip out to the desert.
Okay.
We went to the Anza Borrego State Park, which is right across the mountains in the east end of San Diego County. And we went out there and we got a bunch of camps, a local campsite. We all set up tents, the whole Boy Scout camping experience.
Okay.
So it was me and let's see, there were 6 troops, 6 packs within our troop, plus adults. So probably about 30 boys, give or take, plus about 5-6 adults.
Okay.
Scout leader, assistant scout leader, and some volunteer dads.
Now, were most of the scouts that were there your age?
There was one pack which was my age.
Which was
I was in
middle teens.
I'd say like 12 to 13. 12, 13 years old. And then we had the other 5 were 13, 14, 14, 15, 16, 16, up to the Eagle Scouts, the 2 Eagle Scout packs.
Okay, so basically,
we had a good
everybody
spread.
that was there was teenagers.
Yes.
So it wasn't like you had 8-year-olds out in the woods.
Right.
Okay.
No, and so we were all set up in this nice little area. There was a wash not too far from us. We were kind of nestled in it, and it had rained recently, so there was still a creek kind of flowing down through the water, through the wash. Which is kind of nice.
For anybody out there, and I feel we have to do this because I feel Oh, shut up, Echo.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Echo, shut up!
Take a look at the help section.
I don't want to. Stop
Echo,
talking. God, I hate her. Anyways,
You're not that, are you, Luna? Of course not.
Out here, we have. I don't know if there's washes everywhere. I don't know if that's a norm. So a wash is pretty much just a kind of dryish river bed, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, it's like a little creek bed, dried up creek bed. But when it gets rainy in the mountainside, the water tends to come on down, and so it kind of floods the wash a little bit, and then you get a lot. It's a little movement, and the wash kind of expands a little bit. It's really cool. Plus, it eventually leads to wildflowers blooming in the desert, which is a beautiful sight. But yeah, so we were nestled in a wash, like just right on the little dry spot above it, kind of cradled by this thing. And we'd set up all of our stuff. We got the kitchen camp set up. We had the KP, the kitchen patrol, already cooked dinner. We had dinner. It's getting on kind of twilight-ish hours. It's going to start to get dark. And boys being boys, we decided to go ahead and mess around a little bit. So we went to the wash, and we split up into teams, 2 different teams, And one side went on the other side of the wash, away from the camp, and one side was in the camp wash.
Okay.
And I was on the other side with my my patrol and my little pack, and we were kind of doing this like standoff kind of, attackers and defenders kind of thing.
Okay.
Where the people on the outside were attacking in against the camp, and we were doing things by we were attacking each other by throwing mud from the wash.
Okay.
Because we're idiots.
Yeah.
And I was not really with my friends. I was with my pack, my little patrol, and they were older people, older guys. And I decided, I'm like, you know what, I kind of don't want to do this anymore. So I started sneaking around the outside, behind a bunch of reeds, kind of keeping the plants between me and the camp so they couldn't really see me. And I found a nice little spot where I can cross over the wash. There's a nice shallow area I can cross over. So I started taking that. I stepped into the middle of the wash, and then I see a guy who I really don't like him, from one of the patrol that I was in previously. He was a bit of a bully, and that's kind of why I left it. And he's standing there holding a big mud ball, and he's like, "Oh, hey." And then he throws it at me. And I move to get out of the way, but I end up putting my face in direct trajectory of the mud ball as it strikes me square in the left eye.
Okay.
So I immediately shout.
Yeah.
And I'm yelling because I'm hurt. They rush me. They stop the fight immediately. The troop leader rushes me over to the water tank that they brought along with them, and they flush my eye out, and it looks really bad. So they took me to the clinic in Anza-Borrego, where I got they swabbed my eye, they checked everything out, they got it all tendered up. My dad had to come down. It was a 40-minute drive for him to come up from Ramona to pick me up, and I went home after that.
Nice.
I wanted to be there. I wanted to enjoy the desert trip, but I didn't want to get mud thrown at me, which it did, and it got packed into my eye. Luckily, no damage. My eye was unscathed. No scrapes, whatsoever. But yeah, it was bad.
All right, real quick. I don't remember how to get this digital miner to start pulling ore.
Oh,
sorry. I was totally listening, but yeah,
let me come out to you
at the same time.
All right.
I got the power in, and all it's pulled out is 14 cobblestone.
Ore star.
Oh,
there
is
you
it
go.
ore star?
Yeah, so it's ore star.
I think I did star ore. Okay.
And then you start.
Okay, let's see if we get anything out of this. Yep, see, just cobblestone. You did ore star?
Yeah, and it gives a picture of what the ore is going to look like. So let's do that.
Oh, do we see? Yeah, did it do that?
Let's reset. I want to do ore.
Oh, yeah, I see it. It's there. Why I was picking up cobble, I don't know.
Okay, so then we're also going to do a new filter and call it, I'm going to do item stack and give me the cobblestone.
Here's one right here. Hold on.
We got it.
There's 14. There you go.
Item stack. Put that in there. Save. Huh, okay.
Is it going? Now, I don't know what it's like under here, because under here is where I did a bunch of mining, but this world has so much ore in it. It's like overdone with ore that this thing should be filling up pretty quick.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. Still taking
cobblestone.
cobble.
Well, I put the cobblestone in there, but it's getting.
Oh, you did that.
It's gold
okay.
ore.
Well, why is it getting just gold?
That's probably what it found first.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure something else besides gold goes into there. It's weird that it's only getting gold. Anyways, okay, so here's mine. All right. You were lucky in your dumb one because you came out, you said, relatively unscathed. I had broken one bone in my body. And this is the story of how I got that broken bone. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
I was probably 11 or 12. I know it was in junior high. And I was over at a friend's house. He actually lived right next door. And it was me and him and another kid. And we were hanging out. We were just kind of, they had kind of like a dining area, like a carpeted dining area right next to their kitchen where they didn't have a table in. It was just open. I think they had like a curio cabinet or a bookcase or something in there, right?
Yeah.
And so we were kind of just play wrestling, no big deal. And ironically, I didn't get hurt while play wrestling. This is probably like the early 90s when there was still a very heavy debate on the authenticity of WWF wrestling. And so and you're going to have to kind of visualize this as I explain it because it's weird. So one of the kids that I was wrestling with was laying on the ground on his back and I was standing up, okay? And he put out his hand for somebody to help him up, as kids tend to do. I'm just going to make it daytime. I'm not going to mess with mobs out here. So he's laying on his back, you know, just straight line, right? And I'm standing up near where his head is, right? So if he looks at me, he's kind of looking, you know, like I'm upside down to him, right?
Right.
And so I grab his hands and I walk over his body, kind of straddling his body on each side to where now my hands are now up underneath my legs. Does that make sense?
Right.
Okay. So I'm straddling over him. And so when I get to about where his knees are, I'm now pulling him up. Okay. Is this thing working yet or no?
Yeah, it's
cool.
cool.
Yeah, there's redstone, there's diamond. Okay, cool. So I'm pulling him up. Let's just let that thing run.
Yeah.
And I want to use the ladder. Let me in. So as I pull him up, now at this point, when he's starting to get to his feet, my hands are still in between my legs. So his hands are like weirdly close to my butt, but we didn't really think of that. And I'm kind of bent over because that's the only way to pull him up, because where my hands are. So when I stand up, he thinks it's funny to pull up on my hands, which basically makes me do like a half flip.
Yeah.
And I kind of land in my head, shoulder, neckle area, right? And it hurt. Kind of saw the stars, that whole thing, lay there for a few minutes. And just kind of laid there. Well, both these kids, and it was funny, the reason we were stopping, I was helping them up, is because they were in Little League. I had stopped doing Little League stuff long before this. And they had to go. And there was no parents home. It was just us three there. Us three, and I think a couple of his younger brothers were there. So they helped me over to my house, because it was right next door, because they had to go. And I wasn't pissed off. It was just us being goofy. And back then, this is something I don't know if even kids still do today. I used to hang out, like, I sat on the floor. I laid on the carpet with a pillow and to watch TV. Because the TVs, I think our TV growing up was like a 19-inch, like, tube TV, right? If I sat on the couch,
some old Magnavox or whatever.
Actually, I think it was literally a J.C. Penney. I remember that's the only logo that was on it. So there was no, Zenith. There was no anything like that. It literally just said J.C. Penney. So I think it was almost a store brand TV. And we had this, honestly, I want to say as far back as I can remember until I moved out as a teenager. And then, of course, I moved out. My mom went and got like a nice flat screen or some crap that was kind of messed up. So, anyways, so they lay me down on the floor, give me the TV remote, prop a couple pillows behind me, and then they have to leave. Well, nobody was home. My brother was at work. My mom was at work. It was just me. Well, all of a sudden, I couldn't get up. Every time I tried to like sit up, my shoulder close to my neck hurt really bad. And so I couldn't sit up. If I tried to roll, it hurt too bad. So I literally just laid there on my living room floor for 12 hours.
Ooh.
No, not 12 hours. 12 hours. 5 hours. 5 hours. And until my mom got home, not 12 hours. And you know, my mom being a mom of a, you know, single working mom of the 90s, she basically helped me up. I had to pee so bad, like it was bad, like it was a lot of pee. And that's what I was making this stuff for. Oxygen. Okay. And she, you know, put me in bed. You know, made me something to eat. You know, did the whole mom thing and everything. And then she put a heating pad on it, because that fixes everything.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah. So, you know, of course she was home now, so if I needed anything, I could just yell for her and whatnot. And so she, okay, I got that. I'm just going to put the oxygen in here. Cool. So the next day, it still hurt really bad. So I stayed home from school. She still had to go to work. And I think maybe she took me, I don't remember what it was, but she took me into the doctor's office, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's broken."
Oh.
I had broken my collarbone.
Oh, jeez.
Completely snapped in half. So every time I tried to sit up, the bone rubbed against itself and jammed into me. So at this point, it had been roughly close to 24 hours since I had broken. So we go in, and now there's not a cast for a broken collarbone. There still isn't. And so basically what they gave you back then was a thing called a figure eight. All right?
A figure eight.
It was
okay.
Yeah, it was basically this foam thing that if you held it up looked like an infinity symbol or a number 8 on its side or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah.
And it was basically to keep your shoulders straight. That's all it was. And that's what I had to wear for the longest time, was that thing.
Jeez.
So yeah, that kind of sucked. I mean, you know, the kid felt really bad and everything, and I mean, it sucked and all, but I mean, it wasn't really his fault. I mean, he didn't, you know, do it maliciously. I'm the idiot who tried to help him up by straddling over him, but yeah. So that is the dumbest way that I ever hurt myself, is I broke my collarbone helping a friend get up off the floor.
That is quite a dumb way to injure yourself.
Yeah. I got out of wood shop for the rest of the year, because I obviously couldn't
do anything.
Yeah, what is that? What is the mechanism tool? I'll just look at it.
Configurator?
Yeah, thank you.
I read your mind.
Thank you. Well, where the hell did I put my kids? I feel like I stuck something in a chest somewhere.
Your car keys? Oh!
Oh, here they are. All the other stuff I made. Yeah. That's actually the only bone I've ever broken in my life. Now, I want to tell you a story real quick, and I think I've told you this story, but I want to tell you the story of how I'm an awful, awful parent.
Let's hear it.
You ready?
I'm ready.
So, when...
My body's ready.
When Pig Cacti was, I want to say she was 8, right? Or so. She, let's see. Let's do outputs. I got in the girls' new beds. All right, new mattresses, box springs, all this stuff. And we put them in the girls' rooms, and they were jumping on them. She was 8, so Trin was about 6. And my wife at the time, my ex-wife now, was at work. So I was there just hanging out with my friend Scott. I could tell you stories about that guy, but anyways. And we were just, you know, hanging out, and the girls were jumping on their beds because it was time for bed. They were excited they got new beds. And so I was play wrestling, once again, here we go, with Pink Cacti, and I was kind of just, you know, throwing up in the air and catching her and doing that kind of stuff, you know, pretend body slamming her, that kind of things. And, you know, nothing that big.
Yeah.
And then my friend Scott goes, "Do a power bomb." I'm like, "What's a power bomb?" It's like, he's like, "Well, it's like where you flip her in the air and then she kind of lands like on all fours." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know about that." And, you know, 8-year-old Pink Cacti is like, "Do that, do that. So I'm like, okay. So have I ever told you the story, Snoop?
I actually don't think I have heard a story before.
Oh my God, you may not be friends with me after this. So I'm like, okay, she wants to do it. He wants to do it. I'm an idiot. I'm a follower, whatever. Let's do this. I flip her around and she makes a full somersault in the air and lands on her bed on all fours. But all of a sudden I hear a noise and my daughter's got a second elbow on one of her arms. Yeah. I broke her arm by power bombing her onto her new bed. Now, the fun part is that not only is that crappy, but it was 1 week before her 9th birthday, which made it about little over 2 weeks before Halloween. Her birthday's on the 21st, Halloween's on the 31st, obviously. So I just started crying and freaking out. Scott took control. When it comes to my daughters, I do my best, but I lose it when it comes to them. I'm so terrified of them getting hurt. And of course, I technically did this. Me and Gravity broke her arm. So yeah, she, and I know we're a little bit over. I'm just trying to get through this. Anyway, so we call an ambulance. It comes and picks her up. She didn't cry. She didn't stutter. She held her arm against her body, and I kind of just like wrapped it on there and everything just to kind of keep it in place. Took her to the hospital, called my ex-wife, my wife at the time, to, hey, funny story, come down to the hospital kind of thing. And I think I waited until she was there before I told her the whole powerbomb story, just for my own, because I didn't want her to just walk in and shoot me. I wanted a fighting chance type of situation. So they ended up giving her, I believe, ketamine, because it doesn't knock you out, but it kind of puts you like in this weird state. Plus, it kind of causes a little bit of memory loss, because they had to realign her arm, which meant that they had to wiggle around the broken part of her arm. And I remember she just sat there. She had no problem with it because of the ketamine. Her eyes were darting back and forth, left and right, at supersonic speeds. I still have that image in my head. Still freaks me out. So she ended up getting a cast that started about mid-bicep, came down, hooked a hard left, and went all the way to her palm.
Ooh. For
Halloween and for her 9th birthday.
So obviously she does him as a mummy for Halloween, right?
She wanted to be a cat. So the only thing I think that I did that kind of saved Halloween was when the doctor asked what color cast she wanted. Now she's, an 8-year-old girl, you would think a lot of the time. I mean, if you go stereotypical, maybe pink or purple or something, light blue, something kind of,
Luna.
But I had suggested, well, you know what, honey, you want to be, and she was all hopped up on ketamine, so I could have told her, the color was unicorn, she wouldn't have cared. And I was like, you want to be a cat for Halloween, why don't we get a black cast? Because her costume was really just her wearing all black clothes.
Be a black cat.
Exactly. Well, she was being a black cat. She had black ears, a black tail, and then we were going to paint, like, cat whiskers and stuff on her in black. So I figured a black cast. So she had a black cast, so she was a cat with a broken arm. So that, kids, is why you always have to understand wrestling, as fake as it is still very much real.
It is quite thoroughly a fake sport, but
they can really hurt you.
It can seriously hurt you.
Now,
and
this one
that they can sustain is real.
We're way over, but this short story takes about 3 seconds. Trin also broke her collarbone when she was 3.
Oh, come on.
That was the last time that we had bought them new beds, but they were in their rooms. I was not involved in this. They were jumping from bed to bed, and halfway from jumping from one bed to the other, apparently Trin decided to stop and give up and landed on the floor and broke her collarbone. And that's when I found out that they don't even do the figure 8 thing anymore. But my daughters are now 19 and 21 years old.
They survived.
And the only broken bone is Trin broke her ankle, and I was not even in the same town as her. So before anybody starts calling CPS. I'm telling you right
And
now.
I've never broken a bone in my body. All right, well, thank you
there we
all
go.
for joining us for the episode of Automaton. If you are new to either of our channels, hit the subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, let's see that kind of thing. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, HostHavoc. If you're looking for quality Minecraft servers and more, and I mean more. Go check out HostHavoc in the description down below. Use the referral link to know who has the absolute best fans. It's clearly us.
It's dumb to think any otherwise.
It really is.
It's almost insulting. It's almost insulting.
So dumb, right, Luna? That's right. She's just laying her butt on my hand.
Yeah, she goes.
It's all the time.
All the time.
Anyways, guys, well, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.